Hey everyone, welcome back to day 32 of my journey to financial freedom through trading. Today's Friday and it's a small red day. Um, I'll have a weekly recap out tomorrow, but basically I took this bull flag right here and it didn't quite work. I got filled really high. I think I got in late. I kind of chased. It really wasn't a great trade by any means. I do think that there's opportunity on the front side here. I do think I probably should have definitely should have taken this micro pullback. Maybe, maybe this one or this one too. I don't know. Some of these, like this one, feels extended off the nine at the time. But anyways, so I think there's opportunity here. I think I missed it for sure. But it was also a Friday. I probably should have just had a no trade day. Instead, I kind of FOMO'd into this. So those are my trades. We're gonna look at the review of the session. Um, yeah, we're gonna look at the review of the session. So let me pull up the first stock here on WETO. This stock had a 7 a.m. surge. So we'll kind of watch that play out. I think this was a good opportunity. Yesterday we had the one on FGI. You can see in my recap, I took that trade and got stopped out, and then it went up, um, which was so annoying. Very, very irritating. Um, but this one, it moves a little differently. So this is a continuation stock from 5 a.m. I guess they put out. Well, it was a no news play actually. No news. 5 a.m. had a surge for whatever reason. Chinese company, right? No, no, it's a U.S. company. Huh. Interesting. I really thought this one was Chinese, but it held decent, as you can see how it kind of holds the VWAP throughout the whole move. Um, so it holds decent, but like this is the front side of the move here. Um, you know, up here it's just kind of too extended, too far. Little unfortunate. We've been seeing this happen quite a bit where stocks pop up early and then by the time we're sitting down at 7, you're trading continuation backside on a bad stock. Um, so I didn't want to like FOMO chase into this one. So I didn't take it. In hindsight, maybe I still should have. I definitely think I should have. Um, Small size for sure, but yeah. So coming up at 7 a.m. You can see I didn't really have it zoomed in too far, but you see kind of this little pullback there. Right now it's on lighter volume. It's kind of basing out around 10. So that's good. You have a psychological support there as well. So we got 5 seconds to 7 a.m. Ideally, you'd want to see a candle over candle here. Right there, you get it, and you get a pretty big squeeze up at 7. Um, Kind of for a retest of the highs. Kind of flutters up there at 11. So, you know, made a good pop. It's a pretty good move. I definitely should have gotten in for the candle over candle break there at 7 a.m. looking on the ask for the break of that candle. But I didn't. Oh well, I missed it. I'm adding it to my missed trades tally. So, just gonna skip forward a bit. So, relatively short-lived pop, but it's a nice pop for a quick scalp. LBGJ, kind of an interesting ticker. High news. Right? No, it didn't have news. Had news yesterday, I guess. Didn't trade that one. Didn't trade this. Didn't trade this. To me, these are all backside. Let me pull up something real quick, but the C. So, yeah, CGTL did give a bit of a pop here. Kind of came down too hard, flushing out. Huge topping tail rejection off of just under 6. A slight break of that. Slight break. Now we're forming a tweezer top, which is not a very good indicator. It's a reversal indicator. So pulls back really hard, gives a little curl up, switch to a different ticker. It retests those highs. I wish I was zoomed in on the 10-second here so you could see it easier. But right now it's kind of forming a cup and handle. Is a tweezer top. It's looking at some other things. And then it breaks out and squeezes up. I do think this was a bit of a missed opportunity. I think I should have taken a really small size, just kind of as a tester trade on this kind of cup and handle pattern here. Either getting in here, risking off the bottom to try to get the wave up and the breakthrough and adding, or just like scaling out, or just getting in at 601 or whatever for the break. Yeah, I think there was opportunity there that I missed. But, to me, this still feels a little bit risky, more risky than I'm comfortable with, because spreads are kind of high, and then also, I mean, it's a breakout trade after a bunch of topping tails. It's not something I'm really certain in or have tested much. Now, it has happened a little bit before. I can't say I've seen it on Amex not too long ago. I think I've used that as an example a few times. and a couple other stocks, but usually it's a little shorter period of consolidation than this. But I mean, it depends, of course. But yeah, I think there's opportunity in this somewhere, especially because it had super high relative daily volume. It does have kind of a history of popping and dropping though, so I don't know. Now I'm just drawing this to see, okay, this is what I want it to do next, and then I want to get in on the next wave up, just about. But then it starts pulling back really far, and I'm not interested in it. One thing we've kind of been seeing is that the 1 minute plays haven't been working too well, I don't think. 1 minute bull flags, they seem to get shorted quite a lot recently. So it does a little bounce off pretty low there. Let's see what's the next thing here. This Weedo pop. So IQST didn't want to trade it. It was not enough relative volume, not really enough total volume. Too cheap. It just wasn't super high quality. I was watching it thinking maybe if we start to get a squeeze here, like we've seen on a few other cheap stocks recently, huge short squeezes. I was thinking maybe, but not perfect. So I think this was an opportunity here. It's hard to see because my 1 minute chart is a little zoomed. Let's look at it here. So right up here is a pivot level. So you can see it's like 10, I don't know, 10-15 or something. And that's right around where this happened. So on this breakout right here, I think this was a good trade that I should have taken. I think many others saw this. I think Ross might have gotten in here. It was definitely an opportunity that I missed. So I'll add it to the tally. It's not perfect. It didn't really hold. You're coming into this ascending resistance, which it did find resistance off of yet again. But I do think that was probably one of the better trades of the day. Would have been this right here for the break of the pivot, retest of that resistance. So the next thing was IQST again. I just wanted to show that, how this chart went. Big sell-off. Nothing very interesting. SPAI pop and drop. NYSZ, definitely a pop and drop. So these ones, I mean, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out, which are gonna pop and drop and which are not. Because on SPAI, there's probably some kind of micro pullback, yeah. Like, there's some form of a micro pullback here. But I don't think it's something I necessarily want to take. I think one of the things that often leads to the pop and drops are lighter relative daily volume. It's interesting how it got up to 1,000%, but that was while it's on the backside. Same with this one. Had lighter relative daily volume there. Yep, and then this one was definitely missed opportunities here on STKH. So seeing the running up scanner, should be hitting the high day momentum. I think it's because I didn't have the right stock criteria on there as far as like common stock, you know, ETFs, ADR, that kind of thing on my ChartsWatcher config. So I edited that. I'll see how it goes next week. Super small change. But yeah, so you get a couple of these micro pullbacks here. You know, I wasn't watching it in here. Here, it works out. If we're looking for it here, we're looking for a micro pullback. Right now, the high is 650, so we're looking at a break of 650, risking off of 6. If that would break, that would kind of be too little of a risk to reward ratio. So you want to see it pull back further, come a little closer to the 90 MA. So now we're looking at the break of around 625. Right there, you get the break. And just squeeze up. See if it can break through high day. It finds resistance there. There's a break. And I thought about taking that trade right there where it broke. Super, super small trade. You can see it better on level 2. So it breaks that 7 level, pulls back, and then as it starts to rally back up, getting in there. But that's a difficult trade to take on this system I have right now. I feel like that's kind of a trade that you could really only succeed on if you're using Lightspeed as a broker. For a couple reasons. The time and sales level 2 on CPRO updates around 4 times a second. If that. So it's kind of harder to see. And the way that I have it set up right now is that if it's flashing, these are all new orders. And if they're not flashing, then they're not new. But I have it sorted by size, so I can see, okay, at this level, more people are buying than selling, you know? So yeah. And now it's really extended, you know, start to get that 1 minute pullback pattern. There, it's finding support off VWAP. I get in there for the break. So we're looking for the break of this candle up here, which would have been, actually I can figure that out by doing this, which would have been 738. So we're looking at the break of 738 on the ask. So there's 7. It's not holding yet. Still watching it, looking for a break over 738. So I should be watching the ask here. It's taking a while. There's 7. There's a hold of 7. That's a good sign. There's 743. That was the break. I just got in too high. This really extended. One of the things I've noticed is that the bull flags work way less whenever they're not right near the 90 MA. So it's not like crazy far off of the 90 MA. But from the trade visual slides I've made, which is just screenshots of all the trading opportunities that we've had recently, And right now I have them organized by chart patterns, but for September I'm going to organize them by date. So it's just a little bit easier to access, but you guys can check those out. There's really nothing else that happens. So yeah, HHS was a buyout. Uh, so, but yeah, check the description for some resources. Here is the trade visual slides I've made, so you can kind of see I have kind of explain, what I'm looking for, how the charts, look, examples of each type of pattern. That's my favorite, some rules, and then I have them based on like time frames, so 10-second chart patterns. So you can see all these here, but I do want to show you the 1 minute. We're going to go down to the 1 minute. So we're looking at the bottom right chart here. So typically these 1 minute charts, they seem to work a lot better when they're a little bit less extended off the 9 EMA on the 1 minute chart. So if they're too extended, they have a higher risk of false breakouts and all that jazz. So sometimes it works, not always. This was a really clean pullback on light, a light range. I think at the time it was a little bit extended, but still. So it doesn't mean that they don't work. It's just a little bit riskier. And the very nature of the 9 EMA is that whenever this was a beautiful trade, I took this trade here. Whenever the 9 EMA is, whenever a stock, say this bull flag were to fail, the 9 EMA would show like that it was down here and then go, right? But since it worked, it kind of shows that it was right up against the price. So it kind of depends, but still, relatively speaking, when it's a bit more extended, like right here, it needed a ABCD pattern, largely because it was extended. So same with here. You get this right here, it doesn't quite work. It forms a little ABCD, longer ABCD pattern, and it works. Some more ABCD patterns. See right here and right here. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. We're gonna look at this too. This is my sizing and my rules kind of. So these are some things I want to work on for next week. My sizing this week was off based on risk. But I'll get into that in the video I'll make tomorrow. And then let me pull up my other resources real quick and show you guys. So check out the description for great resources, other discounts, stuff like that. I'm just, building it as I grow, as I learn. I want to keep as much free content as humanly possible. So you'll get access to all of these right here, documents, live trading journal. Notably, I print this out every day, mark it up. It really helps a lot to gauge, how you're doing, if you're ready to trade. It encourages you to have a plan and some goals, and then to grade yourself, not just based on P&L, but also if you followed your rules and, things that you want to improve. And then if you're a beginner, this can be really helpful. Most of this is done through ChartsWatcher for me. My some of the different scanners here, can show in color, dark blue is good, white is just too light, and then red is bad, pretty much. So that kind of does the checks for me for like flow, price, flow, relative volume, percent change, all that kind of stuff. And then you have kind of a very simple rundown of the strategy that I'm trading. So this can be really helpful. Even sometimes I still check these like, oh, this doesn't quite look right. Let me check all these boxes, so then I can go through them. And then sometimes I'll find, oh, it's actually, extended off the 90 minute, or oh, there was actually a really big retracement. It's interesting. I'm still working on understanding the retracement a little bit. Sometimes stocks can pull back, 60%, 70% of their move and still give a rally back up, but relatively speaking, that shows a little bit more weakness. And then you get some review documents, my drawdown plan, which I'm still in a drawdown. Essentially, just if you're not doing well, you want to tighten up your criteria a bit to what's actually been working for you. And for that, you need some metrics, and then the strategy. This is a strategy that I trade kind of in as much detail as I could fit into this, and a little bit more here. So still developing some of these documents, but free access. Feel free to use those. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna do my weekly review, show you my metrics, how I'm doing, review a bunch of charts, and see how we can improve next week. So thank you guys so much for watching. God bless. Check out the description for those resources. Check out this playlist right here. I will see you guys later.